I'm Muhammed and this is Nightline, the top stories. Commitments worth 347 billion ringgit secured from PM's overseas trips. Also, 4 Bangladeshi workers thought dead flat site. SAR called off. Good morning. We begin with this story. Rapid KL is in the midst of investigating its Kajang Mass Rapid Transit MRT line after a sound akin to an explosion was reported to have been heard at Taman Mutiara Station on Wednesday evening. According to a statement released on social media by Rapid KL, the disruption to an anomaly in the power supply system has triggered an alarm, leading to the temporary suspension of service for the affected train. For safety reasons, the train was taken out of service and passengers were asked to board the next train arriving at Taman Mutiara. Earlier, social media users were reported to have been alarmed by a sound resembling of an explosion, raising concerns over the safety of the train. And our headlining story, Malaysia has managed to secure investment commitments worth 347 billion ringgit from official visits made by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, as well as trade and investment missions overseas under the current government. Anwar said the commitments were clinched during trips to China, Singapore, Japan, South Korea, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia and the US.
Dan bagi separuh pertama 2023 kita meluluskan, ya, ini bukan komitmen, meluluskan pelaburan bernilai 132.6 bilion ringgit, iaitu melebihi 60% daripada sasaran tahun ini.
He said this when tabling the 2021 supply bill for the second reading in the Dewan Negara on Wednesday. Anwar, who is also the finance minister, added that the investment commitments are quite large and very encouraging, both resulting from the visits and efforts of government agencies, including under the Investment, Trade and Industry Ministry. He noted that the main achievement is the gross domestic product GDP growth of 3.3% achieved in the third quarter of this year, compared with 2.9% in the second quarter. Now, during the tabling, Anwar also announced that the registration and claim for e-Madani, the one-off e-wallet credit of 100 ringgit, will be open from Monday. He said the e-Madani initiative will benefit 10 million eligible adult Malaysians, involving an allocation of 1 billion ringgit.
Pendaftaran dan tuntutan kredit e-Madani akan dibuka melalui Isnin 4 Disember. Hingga 20 Februari 2024. IPR, Inisiatif Pendapatan Rakyat, berjaya meningkat.
The 100 ringgit e-wallet credit is offered to all Malaysians aged 21 and above within the B40 and M40 groups, which was announced during the launch of the Madani economy in July. Later in Kemaman, Anwar expressed his confidence that Malaysia will position itself as an important hub when the world's largest oil and gas company, Saudi Aramco, invests in the country. The Prime Minister added Petronas and Aramco's board meeting is expected to be held in Malaysia next year.
Dia kata, Prime Minister Anwar, saya nak jadikan pelaburan Aramco di Pengerang bersama Petronas dan Malaysia sebagai hub penting bagi pelaburan Arab Saudi di Malaysia dan untuk rantau ini.
Anwar was speaking to some 600 Petronas staff members during a get-together session at Petronas East Coast Complex in Kemaman, Terengganu on Wednesday. In October, during his trip to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the Prime Minister said Saudi Aramco was committed to expand its facilities at the Pengerang Integrated Complex in Johor by adding petrochemical and gas downstream activities. Previously, Aramco had voiced its intention to make Malaysia the hub of Saudi Arabia's oil and gas development in the Southeast Asian region. The government has tabled a state immunity bill for its first reading in the Dewan Rakyat on Wednesday. The bill was read by Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Law and Institutional Reform, Datuk Sri Azalina Othman Said.
The Jurisdictional Immunities of Foreign States Bill 2023 provides, among others, for the establishment of a council to deliberate and decide on all matters concerning foreign state immunity. Azalina said the creation of the bill was rooted in the doctrine concerning the immunity of foreign states from court jurisdiction, a practice entrenched in long-standing international customary law. The minister also said its second reading would take place during the next Dewan Rakyat sitting. On another matter, Azalina stressed that the newly approved amendments to the Human Rights Commission of Malaysia, Suhakam Act, will strengthen the watchdog's authority and give it more bite.
Jadi saya bersetuju, kita nak suhakam bergigi, tapi sebelum gigi itu nak taring, nak suhakam tu ada taring gigi, gigi kena tumbuh dulu. Jadi yang kita nak buat ni nak tumbuhkan gigi saja yang Muhammed.
She also said the amendments will send a message to the world that Malaysians and its politicians are united on issues pertaining to human rights.
Moving on, as of January 1st, 2023, 94,827 or 35% of employees' Provident Fund EPF members who are aged 54 years old have savings below 10,000 ringgit, totaling 246.1 million ringgit. According to Second Deputy Finance Minister Stephen Sim, this is in contrast to only 2% of 4,877 members in the same age group having savings exceeding 1 million ringgit.
Ahli berumur 54 tahun yang mempunyai simpanan di bawah 10,000 mencatat peratusan tertinggi, iaitu 35% ataupun 94,827 orang ahli dengan jumlah simpanan 246.1 juta ringgit. Manakala
He said this during a question and answer session at the Dewan Rakyat on Wednesday. EPF members aged 54 with savings of between 10,001 ringgit and 20,000 ringgit make up 8%, followed by 13% with between 20,001 ringgit and 50,000 ringgit, and 12% with between 50,001 ringgit and 100,000 ringgit. An equal 13% have between 100,001 ringgit and 200,000 ringgit, and 200,001 ringgit and 500,000 ringgit, while 4% have between 500,001 ringgit and 1 million ringgit. Search and rescue operations have been called off after 4 Bangladeshi construction workers thought to have been buried beneath rubble in the Batu Maung logistics warehouse collapse were located elsewhere. Deputy Pulau Pinang Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Yusof Jan Muhammad said the 4 are well and alive and were indeed at the scene when the incident happened, but had quickly fled out of fear.
Sebenarnya mereka berada di tempat kejadian semasa bangunan struktur tersebut runtuh. Mereka telah melarikan diri dan ekoran daripada itu pihak polis telah membuat pengesanan mereka pukul 4 petang tadi. Kita dapat mengesan keempat-empat mereka dan mereka masih hidup, cuma mereka lari kerana ketakutan.
According to Yusof, all of them may have fled out of fear as they may have not have valid work permits. He added that the 4 workers are being held and the police will conduct an investigation. As such, Yusof said the search and rescue operation, which was carried out since Tuesday night, was stopped at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday. So far, the number of victims remains at 5. 3 of them died and 2 seriously injured. Police have classified the case as sudden death. The Sabah government has welcomed the decision by the United Kingdom to change its travel advisory for British nationals travelling to the state. Chief Minister Datuk Sri Haji Noor said it shows that Sabah is a safe place to visit and to do business. Following the latest security assessment by the National Security Council, Home Ministry and the Sabah government, the police have given their assurance that the level of security in Sabah remains under control. The Chief Minister also hoped other countries which have issued travel advisories would take the cue from the UK government's decisions. The Sarawak government is equating the acquisition of MAS Wings Sdn Berhad, currently a subsidiary of Malaysia Airlines Berhad MAB, as their investment in infrastructure development. Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said once it becomes a Sarawak-owned airline, MAS Wings would be able to provide more guaranteed essential air services, even on less profitable routes.
Through the acquisition, we are committed to upgrading MAS Wing from a Google Air service provider to a regional airline. I am confident that this initiative will improve our air connectivity and open more opportunities in trade, business and tourism.
Abang Johari said this when winding up debate for the Sarawak 2024 budget at the State Legislative Assembly in Kuching, Sarawak on Wednesday. The Premier added that the improvement will allow the state government to better promote Sarawak as a premium destination for responsible tourism and business events, given Sarawak's natural settings and eco-friendly environment. He stressed that the decision to acquire MAS Wings was a bold step taken by the state government, knowing that air transportation played a crucial role in the economic and social development of Sarawak. Malaysia's largest integrated media group, Media Prima Berhad, posted a higher net profit in the first quarter ended September 30th. The group's net profit stood at 13.9 million ringgit, a surge of 73% against the immediate preceding quarter, on the back of higher other operating income. In a statement, MPB said despite facing challenging industry conditions and economic headwinds, it achieved a revenue of 213.9 million ringgit in the first quarter. Advertising revenue remained steady, reaching 174.7 million ringgit. The group's publishing business, represented by the New Straits Times Press, also recorded a boost in advertising and printing revenue, leading to an 11% increase in total segment revenue. Media Prima Omnia and Rev Media Group also reported slight increases in revenue. Media Prima Group Chairman Datuk Sri Dr. Syed Hussein Al-Junid said the past quarter had been a trying period for the media industry. However, it remained resilient and posted encouraging results, which is testament to the group's robust business plan and commitment to driving sustainable growth. Meanwhile, Group Managing Director Rafiq Razali said MPB will continue to defend its leadership positions while investing more in growing media platforms, namely the digital and out-of-home segments. U.S. military aircraft crashes in sea off Japan. News from the foreign front after this short break. Back onto the foreign front. As the Israel and Hamas truce enters its last day, negotiators from at least 5 countries were working feverishly on Wednesday toward an agreement to extend the ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. With 60 Israelis and 180 Palestinian hostages already released and more set to walk free on Wednesday, conflict mediator Qatar said negotiators were working towards a sustainable ceasefire. Hamas leaders were willing to extend the truce for 4 days and release more Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian hostages. Israeli authorities have also expressed interest in extending the ceasefire in concert with the release of more hostages. The current truce is scheduled to expire early on Thursday after a 6-day pause in the Gaza Strip. At least one person was killed on Wednesday after a U.S. military Osprey aircraft crashed off the coast of Japan's Fukushima Island in the southern Kagoshima prefecture. According to officials, 6 people were on board the aircraft when the crash occurred around 2:47 p.m. local time. They said the Coast Guard received an emergency call from a fishing boat near the crash site of Fukushima. The Coast Guard aircraft and patrol boats found one person who was later pronounced dead at a nearby hospital, and grey-coloured debris believed to be from the aircraft. The cause of the crash and the status of the 5 others on the aircraft are not immediately known. Osprey aircraft has had a history of mechanical and operational issues since its inception in the 1980s. Turkey on Wednesday froze the local assets of 20 organizations and 62 people based in Australia, Japan and various European countries, citing alleged ties with Kurdish militant group PKK. The Treasury and Finance Ministry said the decision was based on the existence of reasonable grounds that they committed acts falling within the scope of the law on preventing the financing of terrorism. The list included 3 organizations from Germany and another 3 from Switzerland, both countries that are home to a large Kurdish diaspora, along with 2 organizations each from Australia, Italy and Japan. Other affected organizations were in Austria, Belgium, Denmark, France, Sweden, Norway, the United Kingdom and Iraq, Syria. A Pakistan court on Wednesday overturned the conviction of former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif in a corruption case, removing one of the many obstacles for him to qualify to stand in elections in February. According to his lawyer, the Islamabad High Court announced its decision after the National Anti-Graft body did not contest Sharif's appeal for his acquittal. Following this, the veteran politician needs another such 7-year sentence and a lifelong ban on holding any public office to be removed to qualify to stand in elections scheduled in February next year. The 73-year-old was found guilty in 2018 on charges of corrupt practices in a case linked to his family's purchase of upscale London flats and was sentenced to 10 years in jail. AFC Cup, Terengganu FC and Australian outfit Central Coast Mariners shared the spoils in a 1-0 draw in the Group G clash on Wednesday. After a goalless first half, Terengganu broke the deadlock in the 53rd minute after Sony Nord's corner was nodded home by Engku Nur Shakir. The match was about to end when Mariners salvaged a point through Miguel Di Pizio. The draw saw Terengganu remain second in the group with 9 points, one behind Mariners who have 10 points. Terengganu will next face Bali United from Indonesia in their final group match, which will decide the winner of the group. And the AFC Champions League now 4 times winners Al Hilal confirmed their place in the last 16 after beating Uzbekistan's Navbahor 2-0 despite a pair of missed penalties from Salim Al-Dawsari. The visitors broke the deadlock when substitute Malcolm struck the opening goal with a rebound from Al-Dawsari's second saved penalty on 68 minutes. Al-Dawsari managed to redeem himself with 5 minutes remaining by scoring a perfectly judged lob from outside the area that sailed over the head of Navbahor goalkeeper Utkir Yusupov to seal the win for Al Hilal. The result moves Al Hilal onto 13 points from 5 matches and 3 clear of second place Navbahor, with the Saudi side guaranteed to finish top due to their superior head-to-head record. When we return, court frees Yassin Sulaiman of drug charges. Don't go away. Four-year-old Siva Nair is known as the Indian koi master thanks to his ability to create vibrant artworks, more often than not featuring schools of fish. FMT's Noel Wong and Tivya Raghu have the story.
While some Malaysians spend their retirement years doing as little work as possible, 74-year-old Siva Nair cannot be counted among them. What keeps him busy? Painting. And Siva's no ordinary painter. Some actually call him the Indian koi master. Nowadays, you can find him painting away at his Balakong studio in Selangor. More often than not, he captures Malaysian landscapes and schools of koi fish on canvas.
That I used to draw when I was 5 years old. And I used to draw it on the sand, use some stick and draw all kinds of things,
While teachers and friends alike encouraged his artistry, Siva eventually decided to leave art behind to work as a copywriter in Kuala Lumpur. It was only decades later, post-retirement, that he found the will to embrace art again.
Firstly, I didn't have anything to do. I couldn't watch TV all the time. It was so boring. I mean, how can you sit and watch TV all day?
He visited local art galleries for inspiration and watched YouTube videos to brush up his long dormant skills. And he has not stopped painting since. If every artist has a niche, Siva's is koi.
I love koi fish because of their gentleness, their gracefulness, and the fact that there are so many varieties and colors involved.
His paintings of koi are often bought by or gifted to local businessmen who view the fish as a symbol of prosperity. He regularly receives commissions for his koi artworks. Siva also uses his skills to preserve landscapes and scenes of life in Perak, particularly of Gopeng, his hometown. He hopes to document a world that is rapidly slipping away. To that end, Siva is the co-founder of the Gopeng Heritage and Tourism Association, aimed at preserving the town's heritage. With his artistic talents and passion for conservation, it's clear that despite his age, Siva is very much young at heart.
I like to say that life never ends, even if you are 90 or even if you are 100.
Divya Raghu and Noel Wong, FMT Lifestyle for Nightline.
Petaling Jaya Sessions Court judge has ordered singer and composer Yassin Sulaiman to check into Hospital Bahagia following his acquittal of all 3 drug charges. Judge Faiz Ziauddin ordered the singer to be placed under the care of Ulu Kinta Hospital Bahagia Perak at the pleasure of the Sultan of Selangor. In his judgment, Faiz said the court found the accused guilty of all 3 charges. Yassin is accused of providing himself with drugs at the Petaling Jaya District Police Headquarters Narcotics Office on March 24th last year. The singer is also charged with possessing 193.7 grams of cannabis and planting 17 marijuana plants at his residence in Kota Damansara on the same date. However, the court decided that the accused be released and acquitted on the grounds that on the occurrence of the events, the accused was in a mentally unsound state. The charge of drug possession is under Section 6 of the 1952 Dangerous Drugs Act, and if convicted, the penalty is life imprisonment or not less than 5 years and not less than 10 strokes of the rotan. Over in Johor, police arrested 5 individuals, one of whom a businessman with a Datuk title, following the bust of a drug lab and alcohol smuggling syndicate involving seizures worth some 10 million ringgit. State Police Chief Datuk Kamarul Zaman Mamat said the suspects were arrested in 3 separate raids in Pasir Gudang and Johor Bahru between Monday and Tuesday. Approximately 10 million ringgit worth of seized items, including untaxed alcohol valued at 5.53 million ringgit and a container cabin repurposed as a drug processing and storage facility, were found during a special operation carried out in an industrial estate in Taman Pasir Puteh, Pasir Gudang. The suspects, including 2 foreigners aged between 26 and 54 years old, have been remanded for 4 days until December 1st. And lastly, in Perak, 3 men were charged in Kuala Kangsar Sessions Court on Wednesday for armed and gang robbery involving jewellery valued at 1.4 million ringgit. R. Gunaselan, A.F. Adrian Raj Dominic and R. Anandan, aged between 29 and 52, pleaded not guilty to the charge. The trio, along with 6 others who are still at large, allegedly robbed 2 individuals with a machete at a parking area at the Jalan Datuk Maharaja Lela at about 9:40 a.m. on November 6. They were charged under the Penal Code, which carries a punishment of up to 20 years in jail and whipping if convicted. Judge Rohaida Ishaq granted them bail at 20,000 ringgit with 2 sureties each. They are also required to report to a police station once a month, pending disposal of the case. The court then fixed December 29th for mention. Right, Nightline draws were closed this time around. Let's take a look as 32-year-old kayaker Anil Serasalsis paddled through the rapids and ice tunnels in Brasville Breen before descending a 20-meter ice waterfall in the biggest ever recorded descent of a glacial waterfall. You've been with me, Muhammed and Hamdan, for the past half an hour. Thank you for watching and be well, Malaysia.